I'm not sure what I thought about that last Will Franken video about Andy Burnham. I'm not quite sure. Part of me wants to laugh at it because he is making fun of a Labour Prime Minister, and I always find that terribly funny, whether or not it's actually funny. But he also seems to be sticking up for the homeless, which I don't find funny because it seems rather, well, I dread to use the word, but I love using this all the time. It seems a bit woke. And I wish that weren't the case because I don't quite know how I'm supposed to react to the piece. I like to have my comedy sort of very signposted and uniform, and I find it rather dreadful that Will's not doing exactly what I want him to do and no more. And I think the fellow is rather losing his mind, which is good in comedy up to a point. But, no further than that. To be funny, you can lose your mind, but then you've got to meet it halfway with some good old-fashioned common sense sensibility and sound trickle-down economic planning. So, on one hand, I like poking the fun at Labour. On the other hand, I don't like the sticking up for the homeless. I'm sorry, I don't. And it's nothing against the homeless. I gather that Will was homeless once or twice in his life. I don't know. I don't care. Honestly, because look, I don't mind if a person's homeless. You live your life the way you want to. I don't mind that you're homeless. Whatever a person does within the privacy of their own home is their business. But don't take it out on the streets and say, I must accept it. That's not common sense, good common sense. I'm 17. Yes, I discovered the old internet, and I wear a powdered wig now. I'm the youngest old man in my school. That's for the people who... there's not that many. Thank you for the great comments, and hello, everybody. I don't often talk to the public, as it were. That is the non-Patreon. Once a week, if you're a patron, I talk to you every Sunday, as a matter of fact. Sometimes, throughout the week as well. A select private audience. So if you want to become a patron, of course, that's patreon.com/Will Franken. My impulse is to look there, which is because that is a mirror, isn't it? No matter what we say, that's a mirror. So the narcissist in me keeps wanting to look up, and I'm looking at the camera because this is a very serious Chet Brinkley program here, but I do want to talk to you. This is Will Franken. And occasionally we are getting comments. I just block them because there's people that, this is what the last thing with Comedy Unleashed was all about. Like, don't do this, Will. Keep doing this, but don't do that. And, they just want to drag me down to their level, And so I don't actually respond to those comments. I like the good comments, but the ones who say, what does this have to do? You've lost your mind. Who are you sticking up for? Why are you, this is not right. Be this person you were. And if you made it through 2020 and you didn't change in any meaningful way, I got nothing to say to you, man. If you didn't go back to being some kind of cosmic hillbilly anarchist, I got nothing to say to you. So anyway, because there was one I did about was somebody that I know. I think you might have seen this video. Somebody that I know, he's denying that Trump is on Epstein's list. That is not true. In fact, I'm going to double check that. I'm going to fact check that right now. How many times did Donald Trump appear on Epstein? And I thought it was so funny. Somebody was showing me this video, and I just thought it was so funny that he obviously, the look on his face is he doesn't like what he's reading on the Google. So he Googles, how often did Donald Trump appear in Epstein's list? And then he's stammering, pretending that the internet's not working. And then he goes, there's nothing out there. And I just thought that was so funny. I had to do something. And of course, somebody writes in and says, actually, Will, the man who was the most vocal opponent of Epstein and all of this stupid factual horseshit. Like, no, come on. Trump knew him and Clinton knew him. They all knew him. They're all scum. But I see the thing is, whoever left that comment obviously still had a horse in the race. And I don't have any horse in the race. And I think Andy Burnham, he's the latest example of there's no horse in the race for real people who are really suffering in the world, suffering from the cruelty of greed and Philistinism and, just general ass-backwards ignorance. People who've lost jobs from AI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is no leader. There's no political leader working today that gives a rat's ass. So the comments like that. So the people that are laughing still, God bless you, and this is for you. And I hope you're still watching because I want to do some marketing. And I'm looking at the clock. It was 4 minutes and 50 seconds. If you were a real marketer, Will, you would have just marketed right off the bat. You would say, before I do anything funny,
You're going to listen to me. Well, actually, so I hope that was somewhat entertaining. But now, 5 minutes in, I got to tell you, the 17th of August, Will Franken one-man show, Clapham, South London, a place called the Bread and Roses Theatre. Now, you digging me now? The Bread and Roses Theatre. Just let that roll around in your mouth for a little. Bread and Roses Theatre. I played there many, many years ago. And it was a lovely little venue, and I hope it's still lovely. The 17th of August, I'm going to be doing 1 hour, the Will Franken 1 hour show. Now, if you don't have the money to get to Edinburgh, and who does these days, if you don't have the money to perform at Edinburgh, or to go to Edinburgh, or to hang out for a month and just see what it's like at Edinburgh, then come to Clapham. Come to the Bread and Roses Theatre. I'll be doing a brand new hour of material. And I'm going to do the cover art for this, by the way, this video. What do you call that? A thumbnail was made by my friend and patron, Katie. So give her a hand, actually. I'm going to use that for this video here where I talk to you. It's not going to go too long. I actually get nervous talking to the public. I talk to the patrons once a week because, I trust people. If you're going to give me, if you're going to fund me financially, I trust that you like me. But, just sticking yourself out there for the public is like, hey, how come you think this way now? Weren't you trans? I got that yesterday. I posted the Burnham thing. One of the first comments was, aren't you trans? Or weren't you trans? What does it matter? What does this have to... There's nothing about trans in that bit. But, people are just, what could I say? This is the world we live in, and sadly, I think I probably contributed to it back in 2016. So mea culpa again. But I have transformed. I'm a butterfly. I came out of this horrible place, and I'm back to the hillbilly anarchist that I was before this. That diversion from 2016. And a lot of world events led to that. A lot of oh my God, that's right. You can't trust any of these bastards, and it's a good, healthy place to be. So the 17th of August. If you want to buy a ticket for that, it's a little more expensive on the website. So I'm going to tell you what you can do as subscribers or watchers or fans of me, Will Franken. This is me, no AI, live, no tattoos, no piercings. £10, right? Because it's a little bit more expensive on the website. And there is some mistakes on the website. The way they wrote it up makes it sound like it's just a mishmash. But it's a live Will Franken show. 1 hour, and I don't do too many of these nowadays. Every now and then I get invited up by Jay Hanley to do his place in Birmingham, and I had one in Brighton back in May. And those who came, I must say, you got one hell of a show. I was really happy to be down there in Brighton, and you can buy that show live at Dalton's for only £20. You get 1 hour and 7 minutes of quality Will Franken, brand new stuff, including the Louis Theroux Manosphere bit. For only at the store, at the shop, willfranken.com. That's WILLFRANKEN.com, COM. Do apologize again if I'm a little bit nervous. You know what I like to do? I like to really take my time and record things in the studio and then present it. Or I like to be on a stage with people, but I've never, and when you're out of practice, it really is like, and then when you see what's being pawned off as entertainment now, and, I'm not an entertainer, I'm an influencer. I influence people. Well, it's kind of like, if you were to stick a worm in a Petri dish and prod it with a galvanized bit of metal, I would be that galvanized bit of metal. Yeah. It's okay. It's not bad. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's all right. Back to the show, 17th of August, Bread and Roses in Clapham. Lovely little theater in the back of a pub, 1 hour, Will Franken. If you want to get a ticket, then there will be a PayPal link under here. Just, leave a little message saying for a ticket. I'll put your name on the list. And this is how we did it with the Brighton gig. And I probably didn't do as many of these videos for the public in advance of that, but I had a whole shitload of patrons come down for that gig at Dalton's in Brighton. And I want to do the same thing here. So I'm opening up to everybody. Shoot me a tenner. The PayPal link is, it's something like, it'll be under the video here. It'll be, what do they call it? PayPal me. Stroke WB Franken, something like that. Anyway, I'll do the PayPal link for you. Or you can become a... No, you have to do it that way. You could do a PayPal link. So shoot me a PayPal link. Also, consider becoming a patron. And if you become a patron, you also get wonderful discounts on the Will Franken shop. My Lord, what's in the Will Franken shop? Well, have you noticed that all the Silvaticos that were out there, all 5 Silvaticos, which is I think is around 7 hours of material alone. All of those just are gone. They're not. You can't get them. Well, they're in the shop. And by the way, if you have paid for a Silvatico, do let me know, because if you paid, for example, last year to help get Silvatico 5 made, I'm sure you should have a copy already. But just in case, and you need me to send you one, let me know. Just remind me of your name and all that, and I'll shoot one over to you. But if you want the entire collection, go to willfranken.com. They're all on there. First one was released in 2020, 2021, I think. So you got the COVID one, you got the death of the Queen. I mean, they're kind of the baby reindeer piss take, and the last one was the last one put forward my theory that all international issues are essentially bourgeois issues, because if you're starving and you're facing homelessness or whatever, it's hard to say. You know what? I really think we should. I may be lying in my own shit, kicking heroin out in the streets. Yeah, but you know what? I think before you help me, I would like you to give 100 billion pounds worth of AI drones to the Ukraine, and then come back to me with a loaf of bread if you got time. So that's all available. All 5 of those are available. Also, I need some help. I know I asked for help last year, and I'm asking for help again. I need some help to help get Silvatico 6 done. I currently have about 40 minutes of material, including there's a Clint Eastwood is directing his last film, which is about a comedy podcaster who he's got to make one last comedy podcast. If he does, then he can help a woman not get raped. So there's that bit and many others. Piss takes on assisted dying. There's a whole section on middle class television. Middle class television, the only kind there is. Thursday, Liz and Lacey stay home and meet the parents. What else? Oh, there's some funny. Well, I don't want to give it away, but I need your help finishing it. Like I said, there's 40 minutes are done already. So if you jump in now, you get your name in the credits, as always. And you can do that by becoming a patron, in which case you'll automatically get your name in the credits and get a copy of Silvatico 6 when it's released. You will, or you can do the PayPal link and say, just specify in a note, shoot me a tenner and say, "Hi, Will, I'm going to come to Clapham, and I'd love to see you live again, man," because I wasn't going to see you live at the Apollo when they had live at the Apollo, but now that that's gone, I'm really not going to. So come to live at the Will Franken live at Bread and Roses in Clapham. Here's a tenner. All I'm asking for is a tenner. It's more expensive if you go online. So, shoot me a tenner and I'll put your name on the list, just like I did at Brighton. And we'll have a fun time. I want to tell you about Brighton because it was a really fun time. And it was something that I was looking for and hadn't been able to when I came to San Francisco in whatever year that was, 2002, I was living out of my car. I hadn't been there before, I'd been to Los Angeles, but I'd never been to San Francisco. Had no plan. I was living at the Berkeley Marina out of my car. I was told by the other people who lived in the marina that if you wanted a shower, what you do is you wait until one of the people who owns a boat, they were coming out of the shower place, and you say, "Hey, I left my keys on my yacht, so thanks, bro." And then and I did that for a few weeks until they realized that I didn't own a boat, and I remember and I had $300 to my name and absolutely no plan, and there was such a providence. This was before Facebook. It was before all this fuddy-duddy Generation X here, but I want to be very clear. There were 2 types of Generation X, right? There were the kind that could afford and had an interest in iPhones, and there were the kind that fucking didn't give a rat's ass about it and actually thought that they would lead to misery and a degradation of art and education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until now we get to, "Hello, I am Claude. How can I help you masturbate?" So I hear what you're saying. I'm your AI helper. Yeah, I guess this is how it works. I don't know. I know there's one called Claude that sponsored the Edinburgh Fringe Festival last year. Did you know that? Anthropomorphic was one of the corporate sponsors of the Edinburgh Fringe, which is starting, I think, today. So if you want some real cutting-edge comedy that doesn't have any chains chaining it down and speak its mind freely, last year. It was sponsored. One of its many corporate sponsors, besides His Majesty's government, was also anthropomorphic, featuring the AI model Claude. So anyway, I'm Claude, and I understand you are getting tired of the old put your penis in your hand way of masturbating, and you want to try something new. Okay, so what do we think? Let's build something together. How about a garbage can that has a hot dog penis? Would that be okay? I will make the picture for you now. I guess, is that the general idea? Then that's why so many people have to lose their jobs. That's that's the grand theory of it all. Because Elon Musk wanted to masturbate differently from everybody else. That's why lots of secretaries and writers and artists, photographers, everybody has to be in the bread line now because the guys at the top needed to masturbate differently. Tiberius, anyone? Tiberius on his island with his little sex slaves, anyone? So we clear? Am I marketing well? I think the show 17th of August. Now I know it's a Monday, but honestly, when has Monday meant anything? Is that really meant? It's Monday morning. I got to get up and go outside. And oh, that's right. I wear my pajamas and go to work at 11:30. What do? I influence people. Well, you know how like you're a child at school and the guy would come by and say, hey kid, want to try some speed? First time's free. Kind of like that. Yeah, but legal and endorsed by governments. Yeah, so not, kind of, but not. So yeah, it's a Monday. I think I'll be on at 8 p.m. doing a brand new hour, right? A brand new hour. So those who came and saw me in Brighton, you're going to get even a brand newer hour than that, because I am writing constantly, writing for that day when the world lets me work on a more regular basis. Brighton was so beautiful, and I was mentioning that San Francisco sense of providence. Within a couple months, I had my name in local freak papers, and I was handwriting flyers and saying, well, I'll be at this place next week, and from coffee houses, and somebody giving me a $10 here and $20 there, and I'm not fucking around. It really did work out that way, and I feel very blessed that happened. But sometimes I feel very sad because I keep trying to recapture that, because I pissed off, I'd say, one side of I say quote unquote establishment side of things, and then I was adopted by the Oxford think tanky free speech fraudsters, and things were okay for a while, and they said, hey, don't do that, Will, do more of this old stuff, do the stuff you were doing, do that. And then I didn't don't tell me what to do, right? Obviously free speech. And then came the big world shutdown, and I keep trying to, right? And then Brighton, I felt that there was something really beautiful that night, and a lot of my patrons came down, who I'd never met face to face, and some came down as far as Scotland. They came down from, hello Brendan, are you watching this? Came down all the way from Scotland to Brighton, and when I was done, I mean, it was great. I'll tell you another thing that was great about it was this venue called Dalton's, and it wasn't a stand-up show. And those of you who know, I'd never have liked the form of stand-up. That's why I do the kind of comedy I do. I fucking hate stand-up. I always have. I just don't know why it won't die. And I keep thinking things like, Live at the Apollo being dead now, maybe that's an indicator that we're kind of, that it's finally over, the whole take the mic off the stand. When I get the wrong soup, that look your wife gives you when you get the wrong soup, you come home, she said, I said cream of mushroom, not cream of potato salad. We're still doing this. Then, hello. And then, so I met this lovely guy at the pub. He came up to me and he said, is this seat taken? And I said, no. And he took the seat. Just walked away with the chair. That's my life. My crazy dating life. But this was performance artists. It was musicians, and and I was doing an hour set as part of the show. And it right off the bat, the weird freak vibe was there. And it was like, holy shit, I haven't done this in ages. But afterwards, hanging out with people and meeting my audience, and the nobody had any political thing one way or the other. It was just a bunch of, and I mean this with the utmost loving respect, fellow freaks. There was a bunch of fellow freaks hanging out in the cold on the beach and drinking and talking life and philosophy and all of that. And I remember I kept thinking, this is San Francisco. I've got to keep doing this. This is that magic, this is what I want to get again in August the 17th. So if you want to come down and I've met a few of you. I know I've done these little shows. It was up in on the Thames, not in the Thames, but where the fuck was that place? I don't remember the name of it. Some place on the South Bank area, and I met some people who came in from. One guy came in from the West Country, and but I like a really big audience, or as big as possible for this. It's a theater in a pub, a little theater space in a pub. If it's the same one I'm remembering, again, it's called the Bread and Roses Theater, 17th of August. I would love to see you down there and try to recreate, or not recreate the San Francisco vibe, but that kind of just beautiful. Like, there's no political fucking think tank. I'm so sorry. I my whole life has been a fucking one big mea culpa for years now, right? I mean, years have gone by, and I fucked up in a lot of ways, and I have people tell me, like, stop beating yourself up, but I know I really fucked up, in a lot of ways. And there's people that will never. I got messianic. And whatever, and I got caught up in the maelstrom. But for somebody who's supposed to be smart, I was a pretty big fucking idiot. And I just want to make people. I want to make people laugh because it's my medicine. It makes me feel good to me. Have you heard that? Laughter is the best medication. Laughter is the best ADHD medication. So I'm going to repeat that. 17th of August. If you want to RSVP a ticket, because I do anticipate a big crowd, shoot me a PayPal with a tenor, with a note. I think you can leave a note on PayPal and say, "Hi, Will, this is for that Clapham gig on the 17th of August. See you there, whatever your name is, Nigel, Patty, glaucoma," right? So, so just, let's try to make something happen. Let's try to make something happen, because I got this thing about there's this old mainstream, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They haven't known what the fuck they're doing for ages, right? They're dead, but they're just a living, breathing corpse. And the internet, which was supposed to be the answer to all that, well, that's okay, I'm going to start my own channel. That's fast becoming, with the people who buy comments and jostle the algorithm and all that. That's fast becoming just another. You got two mainstreams. One we all know is the mainstream, and one, this is fast becoming the mainstream, and people are going to get left out of this too. But one thing they can't get their fucking hands on yet, they can't replicate the live experience, right? Can't fuck with the live experience. So that, please come to that show. And if you can't make the show, let's say you live in, I don't know, Isle of Man, Oslo, Chattanooga, Tennessee, but you like those Will Franken albums, you like those Will Franken auditory experiences. And by the way, Silvatico 6 is the first one I've made without cigarettes. I've been off cigarettes for half a year now. I can't believe I'm doing this. But anyway, Baruch Hashem. Anyway, if you can't make the show, but you want to help Will Franken continue to make comedy, then shoot a donation of any amount, just like you did last year, to the PayPal link below, and say, hey, I want my name on the credits of Silvatico 6, just like it's been on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there's only going to be 7 Silvaticos, by the way. That was the plan from the very beginning. I never thought I was going to make one pass through. I lost my hearing during the making of Silvatico 3, unless I'm sure I've told you that before, but yeah, I lost the hearing in both my ears, and the last guy, the character Rick Shreld, the loud, conservative, very serious culture warrior character, I ended up doing him much longer than I normally do a character, because he was the only one that I could kind of hear when I shouted. So it's mother is a necessity is a mother of invention. So if you want to help get that made, just shoot me a donation of any kind on that same PayPal link. And please, all of you, visit the willfranken.com shop. What is the shop? The shop has all of the Silvaticos, and it will also have Silvatico 6 when that's out. You can get the entire collection. We've had some people buy the entire collection. Very reasonable rate, I might say. Remember, you're getting double albums. Back in the day, I used to spend $10 on an album, like let's say Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, a single album, but then a double album might be in the $20 range, right? I've not brought my prices up. This is still 1980 prices, although we're dealing in pounds now. So it's actually cheaper, isn't it? So I'm charging, £100? You get the whole collection, or you can buy them individually. But you can also you get a cool little, I wish I had a photograph of that, hand-drawn little CD-style case. You can get the entire Things We Did Before Reality series as well, which is from 2006 to, I think the last one was made in 2014. Various places, San Francisco, New York, Jersey City, and London, which were the forerunners of Silvatico. Pretty much the same thing as Silvatico, but, stretching back that long, and I think that's about almost an entire day, if not longer, worth of material. So you got all the Things We Did Before Reality, all of the Silvatico series. Paradise Lost is available, because I've been giving away my stuff for free a lot, because I've been told, hey, if you just put it out there, no, that's not true. That's really not true. And especially I didn't know what the fuck was going on X the other day, and my girlfriend said, you want to see X, and all right, and then I just kind of, and it's just fucking retarded. I mean, you got anti-Semitism and racism and just woman hatred, and mixed in with the occasional AI picture of a lion and a lamb getting along a little bit too suspiciously well with each other. This is really cute, and the lion comes up and he kind of combs a cat's hair, and then this is fucked up. What the hell? This is, and when this becomes entertainment, God have mercy on us all. God have mercy on us all. So, yeah, it's really hard to say that if you just put out there, put out that intelligent stuff, that intelligent, multi-layered stuff that takes a long, and it's okay. It's okay if this stuff takes you 2 months to complete. Well, people will wait, and they'll remember. They will. No, it's not true at all. They'll forget. They say, "What? Are you still doing stuff? I thought you were trans. What? Trans people can do stuff? I didn't know that. I thought trans people couldn't do anything. Okay, all right. I didn't know. I mean, I'm working with Jordan Peterson and the guys at the UN, so I don't know what the rules are. We have our own set of rules, but then I don't know. Basically, it's the last game in town, eh, buddy? So I hope I'm marketing in my own inimitable way. 17th of August, live show. Oh, yeah, you can also buy the Brighton show. And you can also buy some of my Purple Onion sets from 2009, live at the Purple Onion. The venue now closed down. I have to say, if I can toot my own toast, I'm pretty damn full. I got quite a body of material. And if I, working on this store, looking at this store, I thought, even if I don't sell anything, it's a reminder to me that I've done all of this shit. That it's just not, a lot of comedians, they got like 10 minutes their whole life. I'm working on 10 minutes. This year, I'm hoping to put together my first Edinburgh show. Oh my gosh, really? So you're going to take 10 minutes and multiply that by 5, maybe even 6. And what is it about? What are they called again? Relationships? Oh, that sounds amazing. I went to the Savers today, and you see the shirt? Getting a lot of compliments on this shirt, but it's very, it's ubiquitous, isn't it? And the guy says, yeah, that shirt you're wearing, lady came in earlier today wearing the same shirt, that Beatles shirt, came in today, and she was wearing that Beatles shirt, and I'm just waiting for him to ring up my order, go, mm-hmm. And she come in, she got the same shirt, but where that B is, it's spelled B-E-E, yeah, and it's got 4 B's instead of the Beatles, 4 B's walking down the road. My, and this happened today. Yeah, it's come in wearing it just looked like the same old shirt, but it's got B's instead of the Beatles. My, what will they think of next? Yeah, well, the other day, kid come in with dragging looked like a big old, like a brick of lead, but tied to a string. And I asked the kid, well, what was that? He said it's a Led Zeppelin. My, my. My. And another day, another kid came in. You know what? I think I'm going to go get my rash cream somewhere else. No, but I want to tell you, the other day, a kid came in and just looking around, see if something will jar my improvisatory thing. Another day, a kid come in the store, and he was dressed up like the Dixie Chicks, and he said, "Remember us?" And I said, "No." And they said, well, we don't remember ourselves either, but we think we had something to do with protesting the Iraq War. Oh, that was a train wreck, wasn't it? I knew it wasn't any good. Um, have I done all my marketing? Is this? Yeah, it could be overkill. It could be overkill. So bear in mind if you're going to leave any comments, like some people type. First off, well, Donald Trump was a vicious opponent of Epstein. No, the joke is, if you've seen that video, the joke is the guy saying, "This is not true. I'm going to fact check this right now," and then he goes to fact check, and the joke is the look on his face when it clearly says, and if the punchline is obviously there. That Trump is mentioned 38,000 times in the Epstein files, but just I love the boldness of like, "That's not true, and I'll prove it." Yeah, something's wrong with the internet here. But yeah, okay, that's yeah. It's not real. Nothing's. It's not. Doesn't even. What does it mean? Nothing. So and I'm grateful to the person who showed me that, because I immediately thought, oh, like a bloopers reel, internet's greatest bloopers or whatever. But thank you for the praise on the. It's not a perfect mank. I know that because I've not been up to Manchester for quite some time, but I am very livid. I guess because I just don't know. We knew, like, I mean, Sir Keir Starmer wasn't going to help anybody. We know that because he's a knight. Like, that was, But then this fucking guy comes out, "Hello, I'm from the north," and then he does this, like, this fucking. I've been here 14 years now, and this fucking leveling up talk about the north, like this, like there's a north and this, and when you come from a country as big as America. It really is, like I said, for too long, Missouri politics have been too Jefferson City focused. That's why once a week I'm going to go to Kansas City. It's about time that we knew that there was a Kansas City, Missouri, too. Not just there's two Jefferson. This is a very small country. So getting once a week, you take, what, a 2-hour car ride up north, and then you put the number 10 there, and yeah, that's right, all equal now. I didn't know there was a division. I didn't know there was. You know why? Because I've been to Manchester, and there's rich people there too. There's scumbag landlords there too. There's asshole politicians that come from there too. I didn't know that it was a third world country. I really didn't. I didn't know that Birmingham was a third world. I didn't get this, but apparently that's how they play it. The poor old sooty north. Everybody's coming out of a chimney. Nothing to eat but Bovril. There's good old Andy Burnham there with his AI phone, going to solve it all, isn't there? Nastiness, pure nastiness. You just can't win. So that's the thing. I'm just stunned that people still have horses in this race. That you can live through the 2020, you can live through the AI, you can live through the and still think that anyone. This is a one-party system. It's global fascism. There's no way out, man. The only way out is to laugh, to have a good time, and to. Try to obey as few of the rules as possible along the way, right? That's the only way. That's the only way you can get through this. Because I'm going to vote. There's a guy upstairs. It's a reform guy, and he's so funny because he's just he gives me this lecture as if I haven't been here. You have to live in this country to realize the insanity of it. There's a film. Lindsay Anderson did a trilogy called the Mick Travers trilogy, and most of you will know If from '68. Most of you will, maybe many of you will know Oh Lucky Man from '73. But how many of you know 1982's Britannia Hospital? And I was when I was 14, 15, I was a huge fan already of If and Oh Lucky Man, and I found a copy of Britannia Hospital from '82. Which was the third and final installment of that trilogy. And I must confess, at the age of 14, and not having set foot in England, and only, kind of worshipped it afar via the hazy, young ones, Python filters, I didn't get it. And then after living out here for as long as I've lived out here, Britannia Hospital is the best film satire ever made about life in Britain. It gets everything. It gets the nonsense of its socialist movements and the nonsense of its greedy capitalist movements with the added bullshit of the monarchy as the through line throughout. It is one of the funniest, most piercing. You've got Leonard Rossiter. Who else do you got? I mean, Leonard Rossiter is kind of the central figure of it all, but you got Malcolm McDowell, Mark Hamill, of all people. There's a wonderful scene where he's eating shrooms. He's an American reporter eating shrooms and watching. It is, you've got to see Britannia Hospital. But I mean, I guess I just brought that up because that's, when you're English when you can watch that movie, and that's the whole picture, right? And you just get you get the people who. So this guy, this reform guy, this neighbor of mine, he says, So, well, the thing is, Will, I mean, long time, usually like Tories run this country, and then every so often the Tories will give it over to Labour, and then Labour, they don't know what to do, so they'll just ruin it, and then, so the Tories come back in and take it over. But what Reform is going to do is something totally different. Is that right? What are they going to do that's different? Well, what they're going to do is they're going to go out there and push them boats all the way back to France. And that'll make it better. And what that'll do is that means nobody in this country will use AI or be a fucking idiot or watch Disney Plus. That's going to all change if we just get them boats, right? People will, the class system will just go away when we push them boats back. That will be something different that Reform will do. I'm quite convinced of that. I am. Well, ever since I had that head injury, I'm looking at things a lot differently, Will. I mean, I was kicked in the head by a horse, and then up until that point, I was like, I was kind of a nice fellow. Like, I could measure kindness with a little bit of intellect. But now that I've been struck in the head by a horse, I feel like kind of a white light experience. And I think what Reform will do. I am kind of excited to see Count Binface, get him. But then the cynic in me says that if Count Binface does get in, that it'll be, they'll quickly. The first thing you got to do is you got to give the guy knighthood. As soon as you get a chance, give him a knighthood. Give him a chance to. Well, I'm going to take the knighthood. I just don't know. I don't know the guy. Maybe he wouldn't take the knighthood. I don't know. Benjamin Zephariah didn't take the knighthood, so. It'd just be interesting to see. But I thought it was funny. Yes, I know this story. I've lived here long enough. Yes, Tories. Then Labour, they don't know what they're doing. Labour don't know what they're doing because they're not being Labour. They're trying to be right wing, and they're succeeding. They're very much succeeding. When you wake up the next day and say, there's all this talk about he's gonna, he might be a man. He might be a man of the people. I don't know. I mean, possible he's a man of the people. And then you wake up the next day, it's like, there he is, pulling pints at pubs. Hello. If you don't have £5.50 to buy a pint at the pub, then fuck right off out of England. We don't want you. We don't care. And then but to use the homelessness in his open, we're going to end rough sleeping. No, you're fucking not. You're going to do, if you do it at all, you're going to do it like Giuliani did in New York City. Disney's going to come in, and the homeless people are just going to fucking disappear somehow. Where did they go? We don't know. But they're not here in New York City. There's Disney. There's the M&M store. That's, whatever. I have talked way too long. It's 38 minutes, and I didn't want to do this. All I wanted to do was simply promote. So let's recap. This is for little bowls. Little bowl. This is for, I'm a bullfighter in training. You start with the little ones, and then you work your way up. Okay, so to recap, the 17th of August, Will Franken is doing a 1-hour show. Brand new material. Following on from May, Brighton show, which is one of the many things you can purchase at the online shop, willfranken.com. If you want to buy a ticket, please click the PayPal link below, or email me if you know my email. Email me and say, or leave a comment and say, Will, I'd like to buy a ticket. I don't have PayPal. How can I get you the money? Do you have any bank details? Here's £10. Or here's £20. I'd like to buy a ticket for myself and my cousin Nefertiti. Or here's £30. I'd like to come, and I have a Siamese twin girlfriend. The three of us would like to come. Or here's £40. Me, Jack, Ned, and Reg are having a lads' night out, and we want to do something really intelligent. Or here's £150. 15 of us ladies couldn't make it to Benidorm this year, so we decided to go to Clapham. However you want to break it down, but just leave me a note saying, "Hi, Will, this is for the show in Clapham." And if you can't get there, let's say you're mining for gold in Alaska. But you want to help me get Silvatico 6 made because you want to hear it, right? Will, I want to help get Silvatico 6 made. I want to see my name in credits, man. I want to know that I helped finish this album. Here's a donation of whatever the amount is to the same PayPal link. Okay, that's right. Then there's the store. You know what? I didn't know this. You know what? That is right. These Silvaticos are not free on YouTube anymore. That fucking Will Franken, he betrayed us all. Doesn't he know he's supposed to give his shit away for free? What a cunt. Well, if you don't feel that way and you think that I should be selling my stuff, show me you mean it. And buy some and own them. And you can also download them too. One of the things that Katie made was this Franken for Your Motor series, right? It's like, the idea that you can turn my stuff on and drive down the road, right? And just, trip out to it, But stay away from the substances and all that. You get to think, hey, what happened to the things we did before reality? I loved those. Or I've never heard them. And I would like to own a physical copy of that with some hand-drawn Franken artwork. That'd be good for my father's goiter operation present, right? You can do that as well. So there's that. So basically, I'm just asking, if you want to buy a ticket, £10, mates rates. Do the PayPal thing. If you want to help get Silvatico 6, click the PayPal link. And if you want to just go to the Will Franken shop, go there and say, "Oh my God, I know there was so much. I didn't know this stuff was taken down." Yes, I'd like to buy this, especially before the guy dies, because when the guy dies, I can say, you know what? I liked this guy before he was dead. I didn't give him the William Blake treatment. I said, you know what? This guy was actually good. The BBC series, people we should have paid attention to while they were alive. Tonight we look at Vincent van Gogh and William Blake, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's a bit. I'm not trying to be messianic. I'm just going with the feeling. And also there was one other thing. Oh, become a patron. You want to hear me talk more in my own voice? Become a patron at patreon.com/Will Franken, and you can also get discounts for stuff in the store as well, special red text, blue light sales, and all of that. So please consider that as an option as well. So we got the PayPal link, show Clapham, 17th August. Go to the store, willfranken.com. Shoot me a donation if you want to get your name in lights for Silvatico 6. And let this be a warning to you. Let's just have fun, right? I'm not the same person I was fucking 5 minutes ago, let alone 10 years ago, whatever. It's just some people like that's it. They've got this whatever. They took a photo in their mind. That's it, and I get that. But some people, if like I said, if you lived through this world right now, and you're going, aha, the problem is this. The problem is this. We need this type of political party. That's if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. If you go carrying pictures of Chairman Farage, you ain't gonna make it with anyone any mirage. You get where I'm coming from. I hope you get where I'm coming from. So just know. Thank you for the positive comments. That does mean a lot, and it's nice to know I'm not dead yet. I had a real fucked up dream the other day. It was. I had a dream that I was at some bar or something, and somebody, I don't know who they were, said to me, I said something, and I forget what I said in the dream. It was a conversation dream. It was all about words. This small section of the dream, and somebody said to me, "You've paid for that, Will Franken, with a lifetime of principles," or "You've paid for that sentiment with a lifetime of principles." And I started to cry. I was getting choked up in the dream, and I started to stammer out, I hope that's true. And then I went on to say, because at this stage, I sometimes wonder if my best bet is to kill myself and hope I get reincarnated into a better position, because sometimes it does feel like I've just, through a combination of where the world was heading and my own temperament, that I just like, that's it, man. You're never going to get anything, but you'll be lucky to fucking, but that's That's bullshit. Miracles can't happen, you know. Because it did. The point is, it did in May. You know, when I get really down, I think about May 16th or 18th or whatever that was, and that feeling of going, shit, all these people came out to see me do something funny, and they were laughing, and they were a weird art audience. They weren't like a stand-up comedy club audience. They were like, you know, they were able to laugh at things like transitions and segues, and you know, and that was part of the joke too. And you know, I mean, comedy clubs are fun, but you got to sit through a lot of stand-up comedy to get to it. And I don't know why people do this to this. I tell you, this crowd work shit. I always hated this crowd work stuff because if I'm doing something with the audience, the audience is always a character in my thing, right? Like, you know, the coach is a character that the audience is all on the team. You know, I'm not, you know, but the whole like, so what do you do? Wait, so you make carpet, but you live in a flat with wood floors? How does that work? And is this your wife? It's your sister, but your sister is not your wife. How does that even work? No. Anyway, I've talked too long. Recap, PayPal link below for show, Clapham, Bread and Roses Pub, 17th August, 1 hour show. Or to donate to get Silvatico 6 in its final stages, I hope. I don't know, it's weird, but you know, it's getting there, you know. But I always, like, remember last year, I was going a certain direction. And that's one thing that you guys got. Those of you who donated last year, you donated, and not only did you get the album and your name in the credits in the Silvatico 5, but you also got the 20-minute outtake album as well, because I was going a totally different direction. I had 20 minutes already recorded. I asked for your help last year. You gave me help. It was so overwhelming, and I immediately I just was so buoyant. The next day, I just took a totally different direction, and it started off with the Charlie Kirk thing. I just so, you know, there is a possibility that if I get, you know, you guys could, you know, be so overwhelmingly kind and you know, help me with this. You know, like, we want you to keep making work. That I might wake up tomorrow with a totally, no, I'm going to do this, and then put that other thing there, and then you get like a double whammy, because you'll get, not only will you get Silvatico 6, but you'll get, at this stage, a 40-minute outtake album. We'll just see, but it all depends on you. I need your help to get it done. And then also the become a patron and check out the willfranken.com shop. That's it. I've talked a lot of freeform stuff now, and I hope you dig, man. I hope you dig. God bless each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. In the you know, I'll try to make this a once-a-week thing in the days leading up to August 17th, but for now, if you can't keep cool, stay warm. Take care. Check you later.